Hello people, welcome again to my channel. So in this video I'll be showing you guys how to make attachable hip and butt pads and how to attach it to your skirt. So if you are really interested in learning how to make attachable hip pads, this is your video. Watch to the end so you don't miss out on any exciting process. And also subscribe to my channel, like, share, feel free to comment and watch to the end. Thanks. Now to begin this tutorial, first of all mark out my skirt measurements. Now this is my waist size divided by 4 to get 7.5. Then my hip size divided by 4 to get 9. Then at the down, I'm taking 8.5. Then at the top, same 7.5. Then mark out the shape. After that, mark out an extra ½ inch at the edge of the hip line, like this. So this is where the hip pads will sit in the skirt. Curve it out like this. So this is how it looks. Now place your foam. This is a 1-inch foam. Place the foam on the hip line. Mark the hip shape on the foam. Then cut. Use this particular one to cut out all the remaining 3 pieces of the foam. So after cutting, this is the shape you will get. The foam length is 10, but you can make yours longer. For the wideness, I'm taking 5.5 and 5 inches. Cut out the shape of your skirt. Also cut out your lining to the exact shape and size of your ankara fabric. Now sew the 2 sides. Then sew the back of your lining. Then sew the back of your lining and the fabric to see if they are equal. After that, fold them and keep aside. Now let's work on the hip. This line I'm marking now is where we will be sewing together. Then this is the back part of the hip, which is wider than the front part. Then this is the front part of the hip. Curve out your shape like this. Then after curving, cut out your shape. After cutting, arrange them on your cutting table to see how each piece looks like. So this is how the front and back pieces looks like. Place them on your lining like this to mark out the shape of the foam. Leave out extra ½ inches while marking. This is our shape. Now cut out the shape of the lining. Make sure it's ½ inch wider than the foam. After cutting, this is the lining. You can double yours to make it less see-through. Now trim around the edges of all the foams. So this part takes time. I'll be cutting it out like this. You see, I'm done trimming out the edges of the foam. Now the edge is much thinner than the middle of the foam. So I trimmed out round the edges of all the foam. After trimming, place one half side of the back and one half side of the front together. Then sew. This is where I sew. Place your lining on it like this. Then pin the lining on the foam just like this. After pinning, this is how it looks. So do the same to the other side of the foam. Place your lining on the foam and pin them together. I'm going to sew around the edges of the foam. So I'm done sewing around the edges. So I have to remove the pins from the foam. So keep the hip pads aside. Bring your lining, open it up. You see how it looks now? Spread it well, then measure the hip line. Mark out your hip line to make sure your hip pads are sitting directly on the hip line. Mark the middle of the foam and place it directly on the hip line. After doing that, pin them together. Just pin it exactly the way I'm pinning it now. Make sure the middle point of the hip pads are sitting directly on the hip line. So after that, this is the front of the lining. This is how it looks. Turn to the back. Now fold the extra half-inch allowance at the edge of the foam like this. Then sew round. This is how to fold it and sew. So I'm done sewing the hip pads on the skirt lining. So I'll remove all the pins now. Remove all the pins and make sure you don't forget any pin in your skirt. Now place the lining and the original skirt material together. I'm using ankara fabric. The front of the lining and the front of the ankara material is facing each other. Place them together, then sew the down. After sewing the down, sew the two sides. When you're done sewing the sides, fold the waist of the skirt. So after folding the waist, fold into two, then mark out your body measurement. Now my waist size divided by 2 to give me 14.5. So I'll mark out 2 inches as the zip line. Pardon my marking, I know it's not straight. Then I took 7 for my tearing line. This is where I will sew the zip. So I'm done joining the back and sewing the zip. This is the skirt, so I'm done making it. This is the slit at the back. So this is how the pad looks inside the skirt. So this is the skirt now. I'm done making this hip and butt pads. If this video was helpful, please, if you really watched to this point, please subscribe to my channel. Feel free to comment, like the video, and also share the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video.